You watch the whole thing? Really? Really? A game in San Diego. You stayed up to watch a game in San Diego. You've never learned from watching these games in San Diego. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Padres 2, Pirates 1. You know, the moment the ball leaves Brian Reynolds' bat. No. I'm going to rewind here. The moment the Pirates enter the ninth inning, you know they're going to put up some kind of fight, even though they hadn't scored at all through the first 8, because that's just how things go historically. I have no idea why at Petco Park. So from there, of course, Pirates get one run, guy on base, best hitters up. Brian Reynolds laces one into right center. Jackson Merrill, the Padres' wonderful rookie, the kind of offensive guy the Pirates never seem to be able to raise, gets close to it, sizes it up, decides he's going to go for the dive. It's a gamble. If he misses, Pirates tie the game, and Reynolds is either at second or probably third. Instead, he comes up with it. Everybody at Petco goes nuts. And you have a continuation right then and there of the strangest collapse I've ever covered for this team. And I've got a few to pick from. Pirates, of course, have now lost 8 in a row. They've lost 10 of their last 11. And out of that grouping, 7 of them, 7 of the losses have been by one run. This isn't me trying to make it sound like, ooh, they're unlucky, although they haven't been lucky. It's because they don't have enough talent. But at the same time, it is worth remarking, I think, on what's been a remarkable couple of weeks in that specific regard. Derek Shelton brought it up last night to reporters in San Diego.
I think, if you look back at it, since the break, this is 8 or 9 one-run losses. And, we're right there. We continue to battle. We got the winning run at the plate with Brian Reynolds, and Jackson Merrill has killed us over the past 2 weeks, and he makes a heck of a play on a ball. It's a gutsy move because he dives for it. We're looking at triple, game's tied, he catches it. We need a ball to fall. We need a break, and we're not getting them right now, and we just got to keep going. We got to keep getting through it. It would be different if our effort wasn't good, if we weren't continuing to play. We're continuing to play. We just need a ball to fall for us.
He's right. I know everybody's mad at him. Everybody's mad at everybody. And to an extent, they should be. This is deeply disappointing, what's happened with this team. To go from, just a couple of weeks ago, being over 500, being 2, 3, 4, whatever it was, games out of the wild card spot. Now, right back to dead last in the Central Division, well out of the wild card, and pretty much everything going wrong. I think these one-run losses are worth stressing, not so much as an excuse maker, because they're not. The goal is to score more runs than the other guys, and a one-run margin of victory is plenty. But rather, for me, it's to look at the roster, look at the decisions that have been made, look at the minor league system being 27th in all of baseball per Baseball America and the new rankings last week. Look at absolutely nobody coming from Latin America, and then ask yourself, what's the difference in these one-run games? What's the authentic difference in these one-run games? Don't be Bill from Blonox who's watching that game last night and mumbling this or that about Shelton this and Shelton that. Look, Shelton's got his own issues. Shelton's not shown to be a great manager, to put it kindly. But if your focus is on all of the little stuff, the when he pulled a pitcher, when he brought in this guy, why he brought in Kyle Nicholas, then you're missing what's really going on. I'll go one further. Brian Dela Cruz has been nothing but terrible from the moment he arrived in Pittsburgh at the trade deadline. He can't hit to save his life. From the first fly ball that was hit to him at PNC Park, he showed to be a clumsy outfielder at best, and there he was again last night, bobbling a ball. Really, it seemed for no reason, was charged with an error, led to a San Diego run, and yet neither he nor the trade is to blame. Look, the Pirates, this group of people running the Pirates, led by Ben Cherington, have had 5 full years, and they've yet to find one corner outfielder who sticks. And the reason I'm exempting Reynolds, I would hope, is obvious. Reynolds wasn't their guy. They inherited Reynolds. So they have come up with exactly 0 corner outfielders. And while I'm at it, they've come up with 0 center fielders. So they've come up with 0 outfielders in a half a decade. That's the way we need to start talking about this, okay? Don't Bill from Blawnox me. Don't shake your fist over the last bad thing that you saw happen on your TV. Start thinking about why it happened and why it keeps happening and why it just might continue happening if these guys are kept around another year or more. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from Michael, who says, DK, I could point out that Brian Dela Cruz's error was the difference in this ball game, although as you've stated, the actual difference is a lack of sufficient talent at the big league level, insufficient talent in the minors, zilch of a pipeline from Latin America, and insufficient spending to compete. Overall, should the Pirates say farewell to Ben Cherington, Derek Shelton, Andy Haynes at the end of this season? This is deeply disappointing. And I appreciate the level head that you brought with that, Michael. Usually whenever the subject comes up of firing anybody, it comes with, a lot of hysterics and get rid of this guy and whatever else, and there isn't a lot of thought put into it. Where this situation is concerned, where this subject comes up in discussion or debate, I'm telling you, this is the way. This is the infinitely more productive path toward getting things done the way you'd hope that they'd get done. I'll go back to, this was 2007 when Bob Nutting took over as controlling owner. And there were some things that he saw in Dave Littlefield's work that he wasn't wild about. But he'd be the first to tell you that it wasn't until I wrote an article basically picking apart how horrifically the Dominican program, but also the program in Colombia and another in Venezuela were being run, that Littlefield was fired. Now, Littlefield didn't help himself with the Matt Morris trade, for those of you who go that far back, because that infuriated Nutting. But the pragmatist in him was the one who looked at what was going on in Latin America, who, after the article came out, flew with Littlefield to the Dominican, something that owners generally don't do, basically yanking him by the earlobe, and had Littlefield explain, site by site, scout by scout, what the Pirates were doing down there. And of course, anybody who remembers it again and remembers my reporting, and it was pretty bad. Nutting made that trip. He flew back, and when he landed in Pittsburgh, he gave me a call on my cell phone. I was at Busch Stadium in the back of the press box. I still remember this, in St. Louis. And I'm not going to reveal what we spoke about because it was just a phone conversation. But suffice it to say, he acknowledged the connection between the reporting and his trip and his pledge to make things right. A year later, and I was still in newspapers at the time, he enthusiastically invited me to come down and look at the construction that was going on, and it was still going on at the time. A lot of the complex was still mud, and there was still fencing around a lot of it. But I could see what it was going to become and what it did eventually become. All of this coming after Littlefield had been fired and replaced by Neil Huntington. My point is this. That's the way to get his attention. Look, he's the owner of the franchise. You can hate that or whatever, but you can't trade him, you can't release him, and you can't make him sell. Okay? You just can't. So if you're going to follow this team and you're going to be a fan of this team, you're going to have to at least try to work with what you have, because there's nothing you can do about who the owner is. And I am telling you that if you were to want change, 115 Federal, whether that's at the front office level, whether that's at field level, whether it's at every level, you won't get it by barking about untimely pitching changes. That's my point here today. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We will, believe it or not, do another one of these tomorrow.